if you want to live, an extra decade, you might assume you need to start, I don't know, running marathons.
Right, or like moving into a hyperbaric chamber or something.
Exactly. But recent data actually suggests the real secret to longevity might just be, well, standing on a tiny court, trying to smash a little plastic ball past your neighbor Dave.
Good old Dave.
Good old Dave. Welcome to our deep dive. Today we're exploring a massive stack of research that suggests the racket sport you already play, or maybe the one you've been, kind of thinking about picking up, is quietly communicating some really vital information.
Yeah, life-saving information, really.
Right, about how your body is aging. We're looking past just those casual Saturday morning games to uncover why so many fitness experts say racket sports are, well, fundamentally different from almost every other workout.
And why that difference is so crucial for you.
Exactly. I mean, think of it like this. Going for a predictable run on a treadmill is sort of like reading a familiar script, right? You know exactly what's coming.
Right, line by line.
But playing a racket sport it's like an improv comedy show. You have to react in real time, and you have no idea what the other person is going to throw at you.
Okay, let's unpack this, because this shift in perspective is wild.
It really is. Because we usually think of exercise purely as this sort of metabolic transaction.
You put in the sweat, you get the cardio.
Exactly. You elevate your heart rate, and you essentially purchase cardiovascular health and muscle mass. But we rarely step back and ask, what is the body actually practicing while you do that?
Like what the muscles and nerves are actually doing.
Right. And racket sports, they force a shift in that perspective. They aren't just games. They are these living, real-time tests of your movement, your attention, your adaptation.
It's a whole different level of engagement.
It really is. When you step onto that court, you're entering a living test of how effectively your central nervous system is still communicating with your musculoskeletal system.
Okay, wait. I have to push back a little here, or pause you.
Sure.
Because, my fitness tracker tells me a very different story.
Yeah.
I bet it does.
Right. Like if I go for a 45-minute morning jog, I am sweating. My heart rate is at like 150 beats per minute.
You're definitely putting in the work.
Exactly. I'm burning calories. So wait, is my morning jog not enough? What exactly is my nervous system missing when the exercise is just totally predictable like that?
Well, your morning jog is an excellent cardiovascular tool. No one is denying that. But from a neurological standpoint, it is a closed-loop system.
A closed loop, meaning what exactly?
Meaning your body is just repeating the exact same biomechanical motion. You're striking the pavement with the same force, the same angle, the exact same rhythm, thousands and thousands of times.
Right, it's just left, right, left, right?
Yeah. And once your brain establishes that motor pattern for the run, it effectively, it goes to sleep.
Wait, really? It goes to sleep?
Essentially, yeah. It offloads all that work to your lower brain centers, so you get the metabolic benefits, but you are completely starving your brain of adaptation.
So my brain is basically just on autopilot while my heart does all the heavy lifting.
It is entirely on autopilot. And this is where we get into this concept of organized variability.
Organized variability, which our sources say is like a massive deal.
It is arguably one of the most important concepts in longevity fitness right now.
Yeah.
Organized variability means the body is constantly forced to solve a physical puzzle, but the parameters of the puzzle change every single time.
Because the ball is never in the exact same spot.
Right. A tennis ball or a pickleball, it never comes over the net with the exact same spin or speed or trajectory twice.
Never. It's impossible.
So the environment is organized. I mean, you know the rules. You know the boundaries of the court, right?
Yeah, you know what you're trying to do.
Exactly. You know the objective.
Yeah.
But the execution is endlessly variable.
Okay, I want to break down what actually happens in the brain when that variable changes, because you hear about neuroplasticity all the time, but it always sounds so abstract to me.
It can sound like a buzzword, yeah.
Yeah. So take me into the physical mechanism. Let's say I'm standing at the net and my opponent hits a shot that is just like slightly faster and a bit wider than I thought it would be.
Okay, great example.
What is actually happening in my brain and body in that split second before I hit the ball? Stuff that never happens on a morning jog.
Okay, what's fascinating here is that your brain is literally predicting the future.
Whoa, predicting the future.
Yes. Your brain's visual cortex is taking in all this incomplete, fragmented data. It's registering, the angle of your opponent's shoulder, the tilt of their paddle, even the acoustic snap of the ball making contact.
Just from that one split-second sound.
Right. And it takes that sensory input, fires it through your neural pathways, and it predicts where the ball will be, not where it is.
Oh, because by the time I actually see it, it's already moved.
Exactly. By the time the visual signal actually reaches your conscious awareness, the ball has traveled. So your brain is calculating this high-speed geometry problem to figure out where the ball will be in like zero point 0.4 seconds.
So it's almost hallucinating the trajectory based on those context clues.
That's a great way to put it. It is simulating a future reality.
Hmm.
And while your visual cortex is running that crazy simulation, your motor cortex is simultaneously sending these electrical impulses down your spinal cord.
To get the body ready to actually hit the thing.
Right. To coordinate a massive physical response.
Yeah.
Your proprioceptors, which are those sensory receptors in your joints and muscles, they're frantically adjusting your center of gravity.
Because I'm probably leaning the wrong way.
Usually, yes. Your trunk rotates to store kinetic energy. Your fast-twitch muscle fibers prime themselves to fire.
All in milliseconds.
Milliseconds. And on top of all that, you are making a higher-level executive decision like, do I step into this shot or do I fall back?
Right. Do I play it safe or go for it?
Exactly. So all of those systems, sensory, cognitive, physical, they're forced to integrate instantly. And when you force those neural pathways to fire rapidly like that repeatedly, you actually thicken the myelin sheath.
The myelin sheath, that's the insulation around the nerves, right?
Yes, the protective insulation. And thicker myelin allows electrical signals to travel faster. You are literally rewiring your nervous system for speed.
Okay, wow. I hear the theory, and, the biology of the myelin sheath totally makes sense, but my skeptical brain immediately goes to these massive headlines we've seen over the last few years.
Oh, the longevity headlines.
Yeah. There are these huge claims that playing tennis adds, like, almost 10 years to your life.
It sounds like a lot.
It sounds crazy. So what does this all mean? Like, what do these large studies actually show? Is there hard biological proof, or are we just looking at a massive correlation?
You mean the wealth factor?
Exactly. Like, is it just that wealthy people with plenty of free time and premium healthcare happen to play tennis at fancy country clubs, and that's actually why they live longer?
That is always the crucial caveat to any longevity study. But the best data actually accounts for that. The most famous research here is the Copenhagen City Heart Study.
Okay, I've heard of this one.
It's the gold standard. They tracked over 8,000 people for 25 years. And they heavily controlled for socioeconomic status, education, and baseline health.
So they factored out the country club effect.
They absolutely did. And the results were staggering. People who primarily did solo activities, like jogging, swimming, working out at a health club, they added about 1.5 to 3 years to their life expectancy.
Compared to people who did nothing.
Right, compared to sedentary adults, which is great. But the racket sport players, they saw an entirely different tier of benefits.
How much of a difference are we talking?
Well, badminton players added over 6 years. And tennis players added nearly 10 years to their life expectancy.
Almost 10 years. A health club workout gives you 1.5 years, but tennis gives you 10. The gap is just enormous.
It is massive.
It makes you wonder, like, is it really the specific sport? Is there some magical property inherent to holding a racket? Or is something else going on that the sport just happens to deliver?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, there is no magic in the racket itself. The headline, "Play tennis, live longer," is great for selling magazines, but it's too simplistic.
It hides what's actually happening.
Exactly. The sport itself is really just the packaging. When researchers look at that Copenhagen data, they conclude that racket sports are simply the most efficient delivery mechanism for a really complex cocktail of functional demands.
What are the ingredients in that cocktail?
It's high-intensity interval training, combined with spatial awareness, rapid deceleration, balance, and crucially human connection.
Ah, so you aren't like scheduling a cardio day on Monday and then a balance day on Tuesday and then sitting down with a crossword puzzle for a cognitive day.
Right, you aren't isolating them.
You are compressing all of those biological and brain demands into a single hour of play.
You are demanding that your body perform all those functions simultaneously under pressure. Because when you do isolated exercises, your body just improves in isolation.
Right, like a bicep curl just makes your bicep stronger.
It's exactly. But longevity requires integrated function. It required your cardiovascular system to support your muscular system, while your nervous system manages your balance.
It's a total package.
Racket sports demand integrated survival skills.
Okay, but let's talk about the modern elephant in the room. I'm looking at the massive explosion of pickleball specifically.
It is everywhere.
Everywhere. But the court is tiny. You barely run compared to a tennis player. If this longevity thing is about keeping the heart strong and moving around, how is standing in a 20-foot square swatting a plastic wiffle ball neurologically equivalent to sprinting across a massive tennis court?
Well, they serve the same functional purpose, but they accommodate the body through completely different mechanisms.
Okay, so it's like tennis is like a sprawling epic novel, while pickleball is a punchy short story.
That's a great analogy.
Both get you reading, but one is just a lot easier to pick up on a Tuesday night. But can you really get the same benefits from pickleball that serious tennis players get?
Yes, but differently. Tennis keeps the body expansive. You need deep hip mobility, massive cardiovascular endurance, the ability to generate heavy torque. You're covering a huge space.
Right, it's a maximal effort kind of game.
But pickleball keeps the body engaged on a micro level. The physical footprint is drastically smaller, sure, but the neural footprint is massive.
Because everything is happening so close to you.
Exactly. Because the court is small and the ball loses momentum quickly, you are engaged in these rapid-fire volley exchanges.
So if tennis is macro-dosing physical stress, where you need immense lung capacity for that huge space pickleball, is almost microdosing cognitive stress.
That is the fundamental difference.
Because the physical real estate is tiny, but your fast twitch reflexes are firing twice as fast because the other guy is only, 14 feet away?
Right. In tennis, you have time while the ball is traveling all the way from the baseline to recognize the shot and organize your body.
You can actually think for a second.
In pickleball, especially up at the net, you literally have milliseconds. So the cognitive load, the demand on your hand-eye coordination, peripheral vision, reaction time is exceptionally high.
So the tennis player is building superior cardio, but the pickleball player is relentlessly taxing their fast twitch neural reflexes.
Precisely. Which answers a huge question for older adults, or really anyone who hasn't played a sport in years.
What's the most honest reason for them to start now?
Because the single most important factor in any health habit is compliance.
Right. Doing it consistently.
A sport that looks biologically perfect on paper, but causes joint pain or frustration in 3 weeks. It offers zero functional benefit because you will quit.
It just won't go back.
Rhythm is the quiet engine of functional health. The human body doesn't adapt to what we do intensely once a month. It adapts to the rhythm of what we do consistently.
And a smaller court game makes that rhythm a lot easier to maintain.
Exactly. It lowers the barrier to entry so it becomes part of the fabric of your week.
But that consistent rhythm brings us to a psychological barrier that I think a lot of people struggle with. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, let's hear it.
Our sources discuss this concept of immediate feedback. Like, if I go to the gym and lift weights, I can kind of hide my physical decline for myself. I might not notice my balance is slightly worse this year than last year.
Sure, you're holding onto a stable machine.
Right. But a racket sport provides this absolute non-judgmental mirror of your functional capacity. If your reaction time has slowed down, you hit the ball late. If your balance has quietly shifted, the court will show you before a doctor does. You'll stumble reaching for a shot.
It exposes you immediately.
Doesn't that constant immediate feedback get incredibly discouraging for older adults? Like constantly facing the reality of your physical decline?
It can be very confronting at first.
Yeah.
The court completely strips away our illusions about what we can do.
You can't fake it.
You really can't. If you fail to decelerate in time, the ball goes into the net. But this is where a critical psychological shift has to happen. We are so conditioned to view exercise as a pass-fail test.
Like if I'm not as fast as I was at 30, I'm failing.
Right. But the court is not passing judgment. It is simply providing high-fidelity data. It's information, not a grade. It's showing you exactly how your body organizes itself when a variable changes today.
So you have to stop looking at the missed shot as a failure and start looking at it as like a diagnostic alert. It's just the check engine light coming on.
It is the most honest diagnostic tool you have. And to your point about getting discouraged, this raises an important question about motivation and why the isolated solo exercise model so often fails us as we age.
Oh, because if you're alone and struggling, it's easier to quit.
Exactly. If you are alone in your basement on a stationary bike and you realize your stamina has dropped, it is very easy to just feel defeated and stop pedaling. It's just you alone facing your own decline.
Which brings in the whole social structure of these sports. It's not just a fun little bonus, it's the actual scaffolding that keeps the habit alive.
The social architecture is a central biological pillar of why these sports extend life. We often treat socializing as just an emotional perk, but it has profound physiological effects.
Really, like actual biological changes.
Yes. When you play a game with other people, when you laugh at a terrible shot, or high-five your partner, or talk a little trash, you are activating your parasympathetic nervous system. You are modulating your vagal tone.
Okay, break down vagal tone for me. How does laughing at a missed shot actually change the biology of the workout?
So your vagus nerve is like the superhighway of your parasympathetic nervous system, the system that controls rest and recovery.
Right, the opposite of fight or flight.
Exactly. Now, intense physical exercise naturally spikes your cortisol and adrenaline. It's a stressor. If you are doing grueling exercise alone, your body remains in that sympathetic fight or flight state for a long time.
Because it just feels like physical stress.
Right. But play specifically, social play signals evolutionary safety to your brain.
Oh, wow.
So the physical exertion stresses your cardiovascular system, which you want. But the social connection and the laughter simultaneously suppress chronic systemic inflammation.
That is fascinating. So the social aspect is literally buffering the physiological stress of the workout. You get the cardio benefits, but the human connection prevents the cortisol from becoming toxic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your body becomes highly efficient at returning to a state of calm. Furthermore, from a behavioral design standpoint, social obligation overrides temporary physical discouragement.
Health is about design, not discipline.
Yes. Willpower is a highly depletable resource. If your balance felt slightly off yesterday, your personal willpower might not be enough to get you to the gym today.
Probably just stay on the couch.
Right. But if 3 of your friends are standing at the public courts waiting for you to play doubles, the social friction of letting them down is way higher than the physical friction of showing up.
The guilt of leaving Dave hanging at the net is what gets you in the car.
The human nervous system is wired for tribal connection. We will perform tasks for the group that we would never sustain just for ourselves. The community protects the habit.
That completely reframes how we view the aging process. We're moving away from this idea of exercise as some rigid, solitary punishment to delay death.
It shouldn't be a punishment.
No. It's about viewing the court as a laboratory for awareness. The court isn't a medical test. You aren't getting your blood drawn. It's a space to move, laugh, completely whiff a backhand, and just gather data on yourself.
And if you are paying attention, what are those early signals telling you? Recognizing them allows you to respond with intelligence rather than panic.
Intelligence versus urgency. I like that.
It's a key distinction. If you step onto the court and realize playing singles leaves your joints aching for 3 days, but doubles feels fantastic, that is not a defeat.
Right. That's just actionable intelligence.
It tells you your body can handle the neurological demands, but your connective tissue needs smarter pacing. Maybe you need a 10-minute dynamic warm-up instead of just walking on cold.
You use the data from the court to inform the maintenance you do off the court. You listen to the mirror.
Because maintaining true independence later in life isn't about stubbornly ignoring that your biology is changing. It's about understanding the change early enough to adapt your routine.
Which ties right into the philosophy of Finch-Q from our sources.
Exactly. They view health not as a static snapshot or a single perfect score on a test. They view it as a living, dynamic pattern that reveals itself over time.
So how do you start learning to read that pattern in your own life?
You stay deeply engaged with it. You read the subtle shifts in your capability, and you make micro-adjustments before those shifts become, well, catastrophic failures.
So it's treating every Tuesday night game not just as a box to check on your fitness app, but as a vital, continuous conversation with your own anatomy.
Right. It's not about proving you still have the explosiveness of a 25-year-old. It's about practicing constant, organized responsiveness.
So you can be a highly capable, balanced, and sharp 80-year-old.
The ball comes over the net. The variable changes. The brain calculates, and the body answers. And in the quality of that answer, you find the real story of your functional health.
Man, it really makes you look at a simple plastic paddle with a lot more respect.
It really does.
Well, before we wrap up our deep dive today, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over, building on everything we've just discussed. We've spent this entire time dissecting how physical, organized variability is the ultimate key to keeping your nervous system young.
The physical puzzle.
Right. But what is the racket sport equivalent for your brain? Where in your daily routine are you forcing your mind to react to unpredictable, fast-moving, and maybe even uncomfortable ideas instead of just jogging on the comfortable, closed-loop treadmill of your existing opinions?
Oh, that's a great question.
Finding your cognitive pickleball court, a space where your assumptions are constantly volleyed back at you from unexpected angles, might be just as critical for your mental longevity as finding a physical court is for your body. If we only read the familiar scripts, our neurons forget how to improvise. Keep moving, keep reacting, and we'll see you next time.